Do you ever feel like your child runs the house? You find yourself saying yes when you really want to say no? You over explain, negotiate, or just give in because saying no leads to a meltdown or even worse, aggression? Maybe you tell yourself, well, my child has ADHD or autism, so they don't really understand boundaries. Here's the truth: every child, especially those with developmental disabilities, need boundaries, not to punish them, but to create safety. Today, I want to talk about why boundaries are so hard to hold, why avoiding them can make things worse, and how to start setting them even when you're afraid that it will lead to an explosion. I see this all the time. Parents come to me completely exhausted. They're walking on eggshells every single day, trying to not trigger their child or just trying to make it through the evening without a meltdown. It starts with small things like, he just does not like when I say no, or he just can't wait to get what he wants. But over time, the house starts revolving around avoiding conflict with that child. You and your partner stop agreeing on rules. You feel disconnected. Maybe your other kids are starting to resent the sibling who gets all the attention. Maybe you already feel worried about that. And when you finally try to say no, you're afraid. It feels unsafe because the behavior that follows is really intense: yelling, hitting, throwing, breaking things. So, of course, you hesitate. Of course, you feel afraid. But what if I told you that avoiding those boundaries isn't protecting your child? It's actually keeping them and you stuck. It's actually making things worse. I call this the cycle of avoidance. It starts with you being afraid of saying no to your child, and then you're afraid of that escalation, or it happens to the point that you give in. And so you teach your child that pushing your boundaries work, leading to you being even more afraid to say no. So this cycle continues and continues and continues until it becomes unsustainable for you and for your child. Boundaries aren't punishments, they are structure. They're what help your child understand what is okay and what is not okay. And kids, especially neurodivergent kids, need that structure to feel safe. When there are no boundaries, the world feels very unpredictable, especially for kids with developmental disabilities. I cannot emphasize this enough. And here's what I mean by that. When you say sometimes no, but then give in after your child pushes you, their brain learns something very tricky. If I try hard enough, I can change the rule. So next time, they don't stop. They test you again and again. Not because they're being bad or manipulative, but because they're trying to figure out where the line really is. And believe it or not, that's exhausting for them. Picture this: you go to work and your boss's expectations change every day. Monday, being late is fine. Tuesday, you get a warning for it. Wednesday, nobody even notices if you're there. How long before you start showing up late on purpose just to see how your boss reacts or try to figure out what's actually okay and what's not okay? That's what kids do when boundaries are inconsistent. They keep pushing, not to manipulate you, but to test the pattern and to know what is true. They're trying to predict the world around them, and that's how they learn what's safe. The problem is that when the rules keep shifting, they never get to feel that safety. So they keep trying. Can you imagine having to engage in that emotional roller coaster only to find out what you can or cannot do every day? Like I said, it's exhausting for them. Every day becomes a guessing game. What works today? How far do I have to go before mom gives in? That uncertainty keeps their body on alert. Their nervous system never really fully relaxes because it's not just testing, it's anxiety producing to not know what to expect. Their brain is looking for safety through control. On the flip side, when a parent always says yes, it might feel kind or easier in the moment, but it actually does the opposite. Boundaries are like a GPS. They tell kids what's safe, what's not, and what to expect every time. When that GPS disappears, the world becomes chaos. Even if your child gets what they want, deep down it feels unsafe for them because the message then becomes, if my parent can't hold a no, can they hold me when I lose my cool? That's how trust actually breaks. And let me show you. Imagine that you are driving in this car and this is your roadmap, right? These lines are the boundaries that are holding that car in that line. But if I blur these lines, how do you think you would drive? And how do you think you would feel driving that car without those boundaries telling you where to go? That's what happens with your child when the boundaries get blurred. So yes, saying no might cause short-term frustration, but holding that boundary calmly every time is what teaches your child the world is predictable. I am safe, and my parent means what they say. Boundaries create safety and consistency that build trust. At this point, you may be asking, why is this important? Why should I care about this? Well, it's important because I know you want what's best for your child, and you're not just setting a boundary for today, you're teaching your child how the world works. This is very important because boundaries won't disappear for your child. The world will still say no to them. Teachers, bosses, partners, society. When you avoid boundaries now, your child doesn't get to learn to tolerate frustration or to delay gratification. They don't get to learn how to manage their emotions when things don't go their way. And that's not sustainable for anyone. Not for you, not for your marriage or relationships, not for your other kids. And it certainly doesn't set up your child for success. You deserve a home that feels calm and safe again. Let's talk about what you can actually do this week. Step 1, start small. Don't try to fix every boundary at once. Pick one. Maybe it's screen time. Maybe it's interrupting during dinner or sitting at a table, cleaning up after themselves. Just one small thing. I encourage you to ask yourself this question. What's one boundary that I can hold for my child that if I did would make everything else easier and more enjoyable for me and my family? Start there. The goal is not perfection, it's just consistency. Step 2, say what you mean and mean what you say. When your child asks for something and you know the answer is no, don't go around it. Don't say maybe later or we'll see unless you really mean it. If you already know the answer is no, let them know. Otherwise, that gives them hope and they'll keep pushing. They'll keep testing your boundary. If you say things like maybe later, you're being unclear. So instead, give them a short, calm response. Nope, not right now. We're done for today, or that's not available. And then stop talking. Don't engage in that back and forth. Step 3, plan for an escalation. If your child gets aggressive when you hold a boundary, your first goal is safety. Move everyone to a safe space. Keep your body calm and have someone else distract your child as possible. The goal is to remain safe and to regulate. Step 4, reward calm and recovery. When your child handles that frustration, even if just a little bit, make sure that you praise that effort immediately. You can say things like, I love the way that you calmed down. That's awesome. You're not rewarding compliance, you're rewarding the fact that they tolerated you telling them no. You're still holding your boundary of saying no. I know this isn't easy. Setting boundaries when your child can explode feels terrifying. But every time you follow through calmly, you're teaching safety. Because when your child knows that you mean what you say, their world starts to make sense instead of having to test it. So they actually relax. This week, pick one boundary, just one, and practice holding it with calm, consistency, and compassion. You're not being mean, you're actually leading the way for your child. And that's what your child needs most. If you found this helpful, share it with another parent who is on the same boat, and make sure you subscribe. I'll be sharing more tips to help you become more confident in handling your child's behaviors.